You have just walked into your home after a long day. One shoe is sitting crooked by the door. Your bag has been dropped onto a chair. Your keys have disappeared somewhere under a few papers. On the kitchen counter, there is a cup from this morning, a container of food that never made it into the refrigerator, and a few random things you do not even remember bringing in. You have not done anything wrong, but within the first 10 seconds of being home, there are already too many little tasks waiting for you. The problem is not that you are lazy about cleaning. The problem is that your home is making you complete too many steps to do things that should be simple. The 21 ideas in this video are not asking you to turn your home into a minimalist apartment. They simply make everyday tasks take fewer steps, from the entryway and kitchen counter to the refrigerator, laundry, and even the things you decide not to bring into your home anymore. And there is one kitchen change that can give you back your evenings. So, you no longer have to stand there watching over the same task again and again. If you want to build a home that is easier to maintain, one small system at a time, subscribe. Here, we are not trying to create a perfect home. We are creating a home that supports your real life. The first idea starts right at the front door. In many Japanese homes, the area near the entrance is treated as a clear transition between the outside and the inside. You do not need a traditional genkan-style entryway. What matters is that shoes, bags, coats, and everything connected to the outside world do not drift straight into the living room, bedroom, or kitchen. You can create a simple version of this in 10 minutes. Put a small mat by the door. Add a low shoe rack or a tray for everyday shoes. If you have young children, place a small basket of indoor slippers where they can reach it themselves. You do not need to make it beautiful right away. You just need to make one thing clear. Anything that comes in from outside has its first stop here. This will not make your floors magically clean, but it cuts down on how often you have to chase dust, shoes, and forgotten belongings around the house. A home that is easy to keep tidy usually does not begin in the living room. It begins where everything enters. And once you have created a stopping point for shoes, create one for the things that are easiest to lose. Keys, wallets, headphones, mail, and anything you need to take out tomorrow. A lot of people have dining tables covered in paper, not because they enjoy clutter, but because those items do not have a place to end up. Create a small in and out station near the door. You do not need a giant organization cabinet. You just need a shallow tray or box divided into 3 simple zones. One zone is for the things you take with you every day. Keys, wallets, and headphones. One is for papers that need attention, and one is for things that need to leave the house tomorrow. You do not need perfect categories. You just need to stop letting these things wander across multiple surfaces. The most important part is limiting the size of this area. A small tray forces you to deal with things before it turns into a temporary storage corner. When the tray is full, it is not a sign that you failed. It is a signal that the system is reminding you to spend 5 minutes resetting it. Do not create an unlimited holding area for things you have not decided about yet. The third idea is probably something you can recognize immediately in your own kitchen. Kitchen counters are usually not cluttered because you own too much. They are cluttered because too many things are sitting there simply because you have not decided where else they belong. A blender, a bottle of oil, mail, medicine, water bottles, small toys, shopping bags, phone chargers. Every item has a temporary reason to sit on the counter. But when everything is allowed to stay, the kitchen counter becomes a storage space for unfinished decisions. A principle inspired by kitchens that feel calmer and easier to manage is this: the counter is only for things you use almost every day. Choose 3 to 5 items that truly deserve to stay out. Maybe that is an electric kettle, a coffee maker, an upright cutting board, a bottle of cooking oil, and a dish towel. Everything else needs a specific place or it needs to leave the kitchen. Do not try to make the counter completely empty. That is usually not realistic, and you will probably break the rule after 2 days. The goal is to create enough open space that you can set something down, prep a meal, or clean up after dinner without having to move 5 other things first. That empty space is not there to make your kitchen look good in photos. It is breathing room for evenings when you are too tired to deal with one more thing. The fourth idea is inside your refrigerator. One reason food gets forgotten is not that you buy too much. It is that the refrigerator is organized like a place to store things instead of a place that helps you see your next meal. You do not need a new refrigerator to use this idea. Create a use first zone at eye level. It can be a clear bin or a shallow tray. Anything that has already been opened, vegetables that need to be used soon, leftovers from yesterday, or ingredients you bought for a specific meal, all go there. Every time you open the refrigerator, you do not need to inspect every shelf. You just look at this zone first and ask, is there anything here that could become the next meal? This change cuts down on a lot of decisions when you are hungry and tired. Instead of staring into a full refrigerator and not knowing what to cook, you have a clear answer right in front of you. A home that is easy to use does not make you remember everything. It helps the important things show up at the right moment. The fifth idea changes the way you think about washing dishes. A lot of kitchens have the same familiar problem. The dishes are washed, but they are still sitting in the drying rack. The drying rack sits on the counter. The counter always looks like it has not been cleared, and every time you want to cook, you have to move the clean dishes out of the way. You wash the dishes, let them dry, and then you have to come back later to put them away. That extra return step is what makes clean dishes stay on the counter longer than they need to. Try shortening that path. Whenever possible, place the dish rack closest to the cabinet where the dishes belong. If you do not have a dish drying cabinet or a dishwasher, use a small folding rack that only holds enough dishes for one meal. When the rack is full, it is time to put things away, not stack more on top. Another option is to store the dishes you use every day in the lowest, easiest to reach spot. Do not keep the plates you use daily high up in a cabinet while the fancy plates you only use for special occasions take up the most convenient space. Good systems usually do not change people. They change the distance between a task and the final step of that task. The sixth idea is to choose kitchen tools that reduce steps, not tools that give you more choices. A lot of kitchens are filled with things that might be useful, but every additional item is one more thing you have to find, wash, put away, and decide whether to use. A practical principle is this: a good tool is not necessarily the one that can do the most. It is the one that makes something you actually repeat easier, with fewer steps. A pot with a strainer lid can save you from pulling out an extra colander. A small pan that is the right size for breakfast can keep you from using a large skillet and then dreading the cleanup. One good knife, one easy-to-clean cutting board, and food containers that fit comfortably in your hand can be more useful than 5 kitchen gadgets bought in a moment of inspiration. Before buying a new kitchen item, ask yourself, does this shorten a routine I do every week, or does it just create one more thing to store? That is how you avoid turning organization into a shopping project. The seventh idea is worth thinking about more deeply because it does not just change your kitchen, it changes the way you move through a busy evening. A lot of families have the same exhausting moment at the end of the day. They get home, open the refrigerator, try to figure out dinner, start something, and then stand over the stove while their mind is still stuck on work, messages, children, or unfinished housework. You do not need to buy a specific rice cooker What you need to borrow is the principle. One part of dinner should be able to run on its own without you standing there watching it. That could be a rice cooker, an electric pressure cooker, a slow cooker, or simply a set dinner routine. You can choose one default meal for 2 nights a week: rice and steamed vegetables, 1 pot pasta, slow-cooked soup, sheet pan chicken. A recipe that does not require much thought, does not use too many dishes, and does not demand that you be creative every night. This is one of the most misunderstood parts of having a tidy home. It is not a place where every meal is perfect. It is a place with a few choices, simple enough that you can still feed yourself well, even when the day has drained all your energy. When part of dinner can run on a familiar routine, you are not only saving time, you are keeping more attention for the people sitting at the table with you. But a home is not only exhausting because of kitchen counters and refrigerators. There is one place where many daily routines get abandoned halfway through, and that is the laundry area. Laundry rarely feels exhausting because of one step. It feels exhausting because every step waits for another return: washing, drying, folding, and putting things away. And while you are waiting for one step or another, clothes start appearing on chairs, at the edge of the bed, on the arm of the sofa, or in a basket that you promised yourself you would deal with over the weekend. The problem is not that you do not know how to do laundry. The problem is that your laundry system has too many stopping points. The 8th idea is to create a complete path for your laundry. Take a close look at the journey your clothes take, where you change clothes, where dirty clothes are dropped, where the washing machine is, where clean clothes usually sit, and where your closet is. If every step is at a different end of the house, laundry will always have a chance to get stuck somewhere in the middle. You do not need to redo your entire laundry room. You just need to make 3 points clear. The first is where dirty clothes get dropped. The closer it is to where you change clothes, the better. If clothes usually end up in the bedroom, put a laundry hamper there, not in a faraway corner that you have to remember to carry them to. The second is where clean clothes wait to be handled. Do not use the same basket for dirty clothes and clean clothes. It may sound small, but it removes that moment when you have to stop and remember whether a pile has already been washed. The third is how clothes get back to where they belong. You do not have to fold everything perfectly. For lounge clothes, children's clothes, towels, or workout clothes, a drawer or basket assigned by category can be much easier to maintain. The goal is not to turn laundry into a perfect ritual. The goal is for every load to have a short, clear path with fewer chances to be abandoned. The 9th idea is about drying clothes. In many small Japanese homes, floor space is treated as something worth protecting. That is why clothes drying solutions often use vertical space or fold away when they are not being used. You do not need to install a ceiling-mounted drying bar to borrow this idea. Look at how much space you are currently losing just to clothes waiting to dry. A large drying rack in the middle of the living room, a chair covered in hanging clothes, a few hangers on door handles. These things do not just take up room. They turn your space into somewhere you always have to walk around an unfinished task. Try using a vertical drying rack, a wall-mounted folding clothesline, or a pull-out hanging bar in the laundry area. The important thing is that when there are no clothes drying, the system almost disappears. If you are renting, start even simpler. Use a narrow folding rack with a dedicated place to store it. Do not let your drying rack become a permanent piece of furniture. A good system does not only work when you are using it, it also knows how to get out of the way when you do not need it. The 10th idea is about something that takes up a lot of space, but is only used for a few hours each day. The bed. Obviously, Not everyone can or wants to use a futon like the ones found in some traditional Japanese living spaces. You do not need to put your bed away every morning to use this way of thinking. What is worth borrowing is the question. Is this space locked into only one function? If your bedroom has nothing but a large bed, a chair covered in clothes, and a few surfaces piled with things, it can make the room feel cramped, even when it is not actually small. You can start by giving back one small area of open floor next to the bed. It does not need to be large. It just needs to be enough for a rug, a floor cushion, or a place where you can sit and read for a few minutes without sitting on the bed. For a multi-purpose room, try using a sofa bed, a folding table, or a low storage bench that can also be used for seating. This is not about chasing a Japanese home style. It is about letting a room support different rhythms of life throughout the day. The fewer dead zones a room has, the easier it is for that room to support your real life. The 11th idea is to clear your pathways. A lot of homes have enough square footage, but they still feel cramped all the time. Sometimes the reason is not too much stuff. The reason is that the paths through the home keep getting interrupted. A door opens into a chair. A table sits right where everyone walks. A laundry basket blocks the route from the bedroom to the bathroom. Every time you walk by, you have to dodge, pull, lift, or move something. Sliding doors are common in many Japanese spaces because they do not need extra room to swing open. But even if you cannot replace your doors, you can still borrow the same way of thinking. Choose one path you use the most in your home. It might be the path from the front door to the kitchen, from the bed to the bathroom, or from the dining table to where you keep the laundry. Then keep that path completely clear for 7 days. No laundry baskets, no extra chairs, no shopping bags, no things that are only sitting there temporarily. You will notice that this makes a much bigger difference than buying another storage bin. When a path is easy to move through, your home naturally feels lighter. And when you do not have to keep stepping over things, you are less likely to put more things down there. The 12th idea is to create a floor corner for sitting. Tatami in Japanese spaces reminds us of something very simple. The floor is not only a place to walk through, it can also be a place to sit, rest, play, fold clothes, or spend time together. You do not need tatami mats. An easy-to-clean rug, a few floor cushions, or one open area of floor that is not taken over by furniture is enough. What matters is that this area has a clear purpose. It could be a place for children to play without toys spreading across the entire room. It could be where you sit and fold laundry while listening to music. It could simply be a screen-free reading corner. When a home has a place meant for sitting down, you are less likely to use the dining table, sofa, and bed for everything at once. And that is when other surfaces stop becoming temporary storage spots. Leave a comment with one word: kitchen, laundry, or bedroom. Just name the area that is leaving you with the most unfinished tasks. The 13th idea is to use curtains for more than covering windows. The right curtains can help control light, create privacy, make a room feel tidier, and even create a soft division in a multi-purpose space. For example, if one corner of a room is being used as an office, storage area, and bedroom all at once, a lightweight curtain can create a visual boundary. It will not solve the entire problem, but it keeps the things you do not need to see all day from sitting in front of you all the time. You can also use curtains to hide open shelves filled with less attractive items, or to separate a small laundry area in an apartment, or to create the feeling of closing your workday when your desk is in your bedroom. Not everything needs a new cabinet. Sometimes, a soft boundary is enough to make a room feel less visually noisy. The The 14th idea solves a problem involving a chair that almost every home has. That chair was never meant to store clothes, but somehow it becomes the place where jackets, jeans you plan to wear again, workout clothes, sweaters, and anything that is not dirty enough to wash, but not clean enough to put away all end up together. The problem is not that you have clothes you want to wear again. Everyone does. The problem is that those clothes do not have an address. Create one very specific landing spot for clothes you plan to rewear. It could be 3 hooks behind the door, a small fabric basket, a narrow hanging rod in the closet, or a lidded storage box under the bed. Limit it to a certain amount, such as 5 items maximum. When that space is full, you have to choose, wear it again, wash it, or put it away. That way, the chair no longer has to carry the job of a system it was never designed to handle. I used to think a chair covered in clothes was proof that I lacked discipline, but really, it was just proof that I had not created a place for a very normal category of everyday clothing. And once you start naming those in-between categories, your home becomes much easier to manage. When your pathways are clearer, your laundry has a more complete path, and your rooms are no longer taken over by things you have not decided about, you begin to notice something. Feeling mentally lighter does not only come from owning less, it also comes from everything having somewhere to go. And once the visible parts of your home feel lighter, the rest comes down to systems people often overlook: the bathroom, the air, the temperature, and the things you allow to enter your home. There is one place in the house that can easily become storage for tiny unfinished tasks: the bathroom. A shampoo bottle is almost empty, but has not been replaced. A damp towel is left on the counter. Rarely used beauty products take over the cabinet. Clothes you changed out of are placed on the toilet lid or edge of the bathtub. And every morning you walk into a space that should help you begin the day feeling more put together, but instead, you have to deal with a few extra things first. The 15th idea is to make your bathroom easy to reset. You do not need to renovate the entire bathroom. You just need to reduce the number of things allowed to live on visible surfaces. Keep the things you use almost every day: soap, a toothbrush, a few basic care products, and a hand towel. Things you do not use often should go into a drawer, a small bin, or a basket with a lid. Then, create a quick reset right after you use the space. This is not deep cleaning. It is simply hanging the towel where it belongs, putting dirty clothes in the hamper, straightening bottles, and leaving the counter clear before you walk out. This takes less than a minute, but it keeps the bathroom from becoming a place where everything piles up until you need one intimidating weekend cleaning session. A space that is easy to maintain does not need to be cleaned perfectly every day. It just needs to avoid being neglected long enough to become overwhelming. The 16th idea is inspired by a smart detail found in some Japanese bathroom designs. One action can accomplish 2 things. You may have seen small hand-washing sinks built into the top of a toilet tank. The water used to wash your hands then flows into the tank for the next flush. Not every home has this, and you do not need to change your bathroom system to learn from the idea. What is worth borrowing is the mindset. One small routine should help you finish more than one task. For example, after a shower, instead of simply walking away, you can quickly run a squeegee over the glass or wall, hang the towel flat so it dries better, and put dirty clothes directly into the hamper. Those 3 actions take less than a minute, but they prevent many things that would otherwise show up later. Musty towels, clothes on the floor, watermarks building up, and the feeling that the bathroom is never quite clean. This is what I like about good home systems. They do not require you to do more. They help one natural movement complete one extra task that you would normally have to come back and deal with later. The 17th idea is to stop buying comfort upgrades because they are trending. Buy or make changes based on real points of friction. A bidet toilet, an insulating bath mat, better towel hooks, a softer nightlight, or a hanging bar near where you change clothes can all be useful, but only if they solve a repeated problem in your own home. Some people are most bothered by cold floors in the morning. Some people are always looking for a clean towel. Some people have nowhere to put their phone, glasses, or moisturizer while getting ready for bed. Others are tired of having too many bottles in the bathroom. Do not begin by asking, "What do those picture-perfect homes online have?" Start by asking, "What is bothering me at least 3 times a week?" Then find the smallest solution for that exact problem. A comfortable home does not necessarily have a lot of upgrades. It has the right details in the right places, at the right moments, making life a little easier to move through. The 18th idea is to create a simple ventilation routine. Homes that stay closed up for many hours can easily feel stuffy, especially after cooking, taking hot showers, doing laundry, or having several people in a small space. You do not need to turn opening the windows into a complicated ritual. Just connect it to moments that already exist in your day. Open a window or turn on the exhaust fan while cooking. Open the bathroom door or run the bathroom fan after a shower. Spend a few minutes in the morning letting the air inside your home change before you begin your day. The best approach will depend on the weather, where you live, and how secure your home is. But the principle stays the same. Do not wait until your home feels heavy before you think about refreshing the air. This is another form of reducing friction. When small tasks are attached to routines you already have, you do not need to remember one more new task. The 19th idea is to look at major home upgrades in a calmer way. Some larger upgrades, such as heated floors, insulated windows, better ventilation fans, or a dehumidifier can be worthwhile, but only when they solve a problem that truly keeps showing up. For 1 month, write down the inconveniences that happen repeatedly. The floor is always cold in the morning. Clothes are difficult to dry during the rainy season. The bedroom is too bright. The bathroom is too damp. The hot water is not stable enough. Do not solve every problem right away by buying something new. Just observe. After a month, you will see which issues truly keep returning. Then, if you have room in your budget for an upgrade, you can invest in something that makes life easier for a long time, not something that only looks useful in a short video. Some Japanese home ideas are appealing because they are built into the home from the beginning, but for most of us, the more important lesson is this. Notice repeated points of friction before making a large investment. The 20th idea is the Danshari principle. Many people know this idea through decluttering, but the most realistic version is not spending an entire weekend throwing away as much as possible. It is creating a gentle filter for what enters your home and for what no longer serves your current life. Every item in your home needs a place to live. It needs to be stored, wiped down, moved, found, or evaluated to decide whether you still use it. So, when you have more things, it is not only your space that becomes fuller. The number of small decisions you have to make each day also increases. You do not need to follow a strict one-in, one-out rule for everything. But you can try a softer version. Place a small bag or box somewhere discreet. Whenever you see an item that no longer fits, is no longer used, is a duplicate, or has been waiting too long for you to make a decision about it, put it in that box. You do not need to get rid of it that same day. You just need to create a place where items that are out of rotation can wait. At the end of each week, choose one next step. Donate it, sell it, recycle it, or throw it away. if there is no appropriate way to use it anymore. This is different from a huge decluttering session. You are not facing your entire home at once. You are simply stopping things that no longer fit your life from continuing to take up space in it. And the final idea is the question behind all of this. Before buying a new organizing item, placing another object on the kitchen counter, bringing another bag into the house, or changing a corner of your home, ask yourself, does this help my home do more to support my life? That is a simple question, but it changes the way you see a lot of things. A box is not useful just because it looks nice. It is useful when it keeps things from sitting on the table. A shelf is not useful just because it creates more storage. It is useful when it helps you see, take out, and put back the things you actually use. An appliance is not useful just because it is modern. It is useful when it shortens a routine you have to repeat every week. And a home does not need to be empty, minimalist, or perfect all the time. It simply needs to ask less of you in the very place where you are supposed to rest. So, do not try to change your entire home after watching this video. Tonight, choose the clearest point of friction. It could be the entryway, the kitchen counter, or the chair covered in clothes. Then, shorten the routine in that area to 3 steps or fewer. For example, put your keys in the tray, your shoes on the rack, and your bag on the hook. Or, after cooking, wash the dishes, let them dry, and put them away. Then, test that system for 7 days before buying anything else. You do not need more discipline to have a home that feels mentally lighter. You need fewer points of friction. A peaceful home is not always perfectly tidy. It simply has a clear path back to being tidy. If you want to keep building simple systems like these for your home, subscribe and watch the next video about the items you should remove from your home before buying any more organizing bins.